Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Boys Don't Cry. Today's episode, really exciting one, at least for me. Today's episode, I want to start off something, a discussion, a question, a discovery into what can happen potentially when, especially Desi parents. I am going to deal with subcontinental parents in today's episode for this conversation. When Desi parents either emotionally convince, coerce, persuade, sell the idea of their kids to get married, especially in this case, boys, guys, men. So let me rephrase this. Person A does not want to get married. He just does not want to. Mom or dad or grandparents, they want you to get married. Well, he says, you know what? What the hell? I'm just going to get married. I don't want to get married. I don't care about getting married right now, at least at this point in time. Well, no one knows what the situation is. They just want him to get married. He decides to get married. Why is it? And what happens? Not why, more so, how can the act of emotionally blackmailing your kids into getting married for the sake of getting married, how, what kind of effects that has? A few of the major impacts it has, short-term impacts I'm going to talk about. And before we get into that, the idea of marriage is sold as a duty by parents. Hey, you are 28 or 32, you are done with your studies, or you've got a good job, you are settled, established. Now I think it's time for you to get married because we want to see our grandkids. We want to see our grandkids before we die. It does happen. Still happens, be it Pakistan, be it Saudi, be it US, UK, Canada, or Canada. It still happens. We still see that. And the idea of marriage is not sold as, hey, I think it's about time you start looking for a partner with whom you can grow personally, professionally, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You can grow. You can take those steps. You can make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. So you can explore different avenues in life together. This is not how this conversation takes place. Now, households where this conversation takes place like this, fantastic. Chances are that all the stakeholders are involved in this conversation and there is a consensus moving forward. But households where these kind of conversations do not happen, chances are, I'm not saying, I'm not going to generalize it. I absolutely despise generalization. Chances are households or families where these kind of discussions do not take place become the subject of today's conversation and can use today's conversation as a guiding light and maybe hopefully as a North Star in terms of how to go about it. So, I'm going to talk about three effects that this strategy, this push strategy, you got to get married, you got to get married. You're 32, you're 36. Everyone around you has gotten married. Your brothers are married, your sisters are married. Look at your cousins, they're having kids while you're just idling your time around with friends. Come on, bro. Everyone has their own life cycle. Everyone works on their own clock. So, first effect that everyone will feel is having difficulty establishing that bond with the spouse. Johnny did not want to get married, or Muzammil, since we're talking about Desi households, Muzammil or Ahmed or Jawad, he did not want to get married. And mom, dad just coerced him into getting married. He wanted to continue his studies. He wanted to maybe apply for some scholarship, or maybe he wanted to do something else, or maybe he just didn't care. There doesn't have to be a reason. So he got married. Poor guy got married. And now there's going to be a disconnect. For two people to start developing chemistry, to start developing rapport, to start developing relationship, there has to be communication. There has to be verbal communication. Before that, there has to be nonverbal communication. Everyone knows, most of us know, two-thirds of our communication is nonverbal communication. If the guy's not going to even look at the girl, or if the only reason there's going to be communication, or whatever sort of communication there is going to be because, well, I had to do this. I have to do it. I have no interest in this. That is why I'm doing this. Then the organic creation and improvement and evolution of that relationship is going to suffer. There won't be a chemistry. There won't be a rapport. There won't be an understanding. I mean, marital understanding way down the road, there won't be an understanding as acquaintance, as roommates, as friends. All these are stages of that evolution that's going to eventually turn into marital understanding. So very important because this is going to happen. Difficulty bonding with the partner. Maybe when you start getting to know each other, you're going to realize that, okay, you know what? She also likes to watch cricket. I kind of like cooking a few things. So maybe I can take pointers from her and we can discuss these things. And maybe she hates DC. I hate DC. So we've got that common. We've got that going common. Both of us hate chai, so we're not going to worry about chai dhabas and chai exploration. I mean, whatnot. All these things happen when you communicate a verbal, nonverbal, interact just as friends, just as acquaintances, just as people who just met or are starting a journey. Even in a company, people who start their journey with an organization the same day, they develop a certain bond because both those individuals are starting that journey together. There are so many unknowns. So there's going to be difficulty establishing that bond, which a lot of people take for granted. So difficulty establishing that bond and then evolution of that bond, which everyone's going to see. And then everyone's going to complain to the boy. And then everyone's going to complain to the boy, hey, we see your cold behavior. We see so and so. Well, what are you going to say to him? You pushed that poor guy into jumping off the cliff. He jumped for you. So what are you going to do now? And yes, there can be so many things that can be done, that can happen, but right now we're not talking about that. Right now we're only talking about three, and I'm only bringing up three major issues that arise from this action. Number two, developing resentment. The guy starts developing resentment towards everyone who was part of that decision that pushed him to say, "Kubule, kubule, kubule," or I do, whatever the case be. And everyone who was part of that decision, who was a stakeholder, no bigger stakeholder than the bride and groom, in this case, the party that did not want to commit to something, and everyone who pushed this party into doing something, into committing to something, which can be argued, well, we didn't put a gun to your forehead. Yeah, you didn't put an actual gun to my forehead, but there was a metaphorical gun. And there can be so many things that we can talk about in terms of generational trauma, generational upbringing, generational conditioning, in terms of why the boy or the guy in this case, or the man in this case, was not able to put his foot down and say, you know what? No, I am not going to do it. We can talk about that all we want. Right now, not the forum. So developing resentment and how this resentment can manifest itself. If there's any discussion, let's say there's a discussion on sport, frustration of coming from discussion can turn into, can bring that resentment out, and conversation can go into a completely different direction. Well, oh, you want me to go by what you say just like you made me do this? It can happen like an instance. Yes, shots fired. Maybe some financial discussion is happening, something to do with work around the house or some family trip. Everyone's talking about certain destination. Few people are talking about certain destination. Maybe the group that the guy's part of is talking about a destination that majority does not want to go to, and boom, there's going to be a mention. Oh, so again, I don't get a say. Just like you guys all ganged up against me and got me married, I don't have a say in this. I'm not saying it happens or it may happen every single time, but I've seen it happen. Resentment. And slowly but surely, that resentment turns into hatred. That hatred turns into just absolute ignorance towards the existence of those people. And then that turns into silence, which again is a conversation in itself as to why men go silent, why boys go silent, why adult guys go silent. That is a completely different conversation that we can have. So, resentment building towards everyone who's part of that decision. Different stakeholders that were part of the decision, but no one really cared about what the primary stakeholder wanted. Right now, we're talking about the guy. Bride is also the most important stakeholder in this situation, along with the guy. But right now, since we're talking about boys, men, hence the mention, guy being the primary stakeholder. And now this third one is a very, very important. For me, this is the biggest impact from a behavioral standpoint, from a group behavior standpoint, not so much group behavior, from the perspective of behavior, how it may affect everyone else. And that is transference, wrong word, transfer of ownership of accountability. Well, I don't want to get married, so if shit's hitting the fan right now, don't look at me. You guys wanted me to get married, so now we have a situation. You guys deal with this. You guys wanted me to do this in the first place. I did not want to do this in the first place, so you handle it. I'm out of it. Peace. So Mustafa, in this case, he does not want to be held accountable because he did not want to take these steps. He never wanted to get married. So whatever discussions, whatever decisions are being discussed, he doesn't want to be part of it because he does not want to assume responsibility and accountability for that because of what happened in the past. Since I was not part of this decision, don't look at me. And this snowballs. It starts slowly, just like resentment, just like absence of trust. It starts small and it slowly and gradually, as that ball keeps rolling down the hill, that snowball, it turns into an avalanche. Either that or a pressure cooker. Temperature keeps rising, keeps rising, keeps rising, keeps rising, and boom, tipping point. And there's a nuclear explosion there. And everyone is affected then. And that can be discussions about finances, discussions about social presence, discussions about, um, I don't know, travel, studies, work, relationships, kids. Well, that is a way different conversation, very, very serious conversation. That conversation shouldn't even be part of this unless and until all these issues are resolved. And I'm just talking about these three: failure of bonding, resentment, and then transferring ownership of accountability from my shoulders to everyone else's shoulders. Everyone meaning whoever pushed me, whoever convinced me or coerced me into getting married. Just the three basic impacts that can create havoc in so many people's lives. Now, one of the biggest things, well, actually, I'm going to come to that after this. Few other ways there can be consequences is depression. A person is not talking to anyone, is not sharing anything with the spouse, whatever's happening, personal life, professional life, with friends, there's no sharing, there's no conversation. So slowly but surely, things are going to turn into anxiety, issues with mental state, attention span, eventually depression. That can turn into substance abuse, absolutely. That can result in something fatal, self-harm. See how one small act or mistake by a few well-wishers can ruin so many things going forward. And then also, I mentioned silence. When people go silent, that is a problem. When guys go silent, that is mother of all problems. It is a massive red flag because you want to inquire what is happening. And at that point, you don't want to inquire for the sake of fixing things. At this point, you may want to go back and watch Fixing versus Healing episode. I think it was before this or the one before that. You don't want to go in with a fixing mindset. You want to go in with a root cause analysis mindset to prevent silence. So many impacts in addition to these three. Now I'm going to share something here. Why this topic has additional significance for me and why this is so close to me and I wanted to discuss this is because before I got married, I was engaged and for about a year or so. And it turned out that I realized it was not going to work out. So I started talking to my dad. And him being such a cool guy, we had few sessions. He inquired, he asked me different questions. Okay, what's happening? What's not happening? Why do you think this way? Well, why do you think it's not going to work out? Have you tried to give it a chance? Or is there anything I can do? You want me to talk to someone? You want me to talk to her or anyone? He tried so many things. And we had our conversations go on for a few weeks. Eventually, and I even spoke to him about that, hey, you know what? I'll get married. If you want me to get married, I will get married. But what if tomorrow I just leave her? I file for divorce. What then? No one, no one on this earth can do anything to me. I did say this to him in a very polite way. And he understood. Well, you're right. And we went the difficult route. He supported me. We had to convince my mom. The family did not speak with us for 5 years. Some people still don't. But 17, 18 years on, Alhamdulillah, here I am. The most important thing that helped me in this case was the support my dad provided. The way he asked me questions, the way he inquired about what was happening. Hey, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Do you have any concerns? Do you want to take some more time? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to try something out? He gave me so many different options. And we spoke about things. It wasn't that he just told me, hey, you're going to do this my way or the highway, being an armed forces guy that he was. No, he didn't do that. Like a cool cat, he was like, all right, let's talk about this. And we discussed it. It wasn't easy in the end, but because my dad was standing right by my side, I was able to do it. I was able to look everyone in the eye and face them. I was ready to at least, okay, because my dad was standing with me. It took some time convincing my mom. So that is why this topic is so important for me. Listening to your kids. And it doesn't even have to be marriage. It can be career, it can be studies, it can be hobbies, it can be anything. We want to get in the habit of asking powerful questions. What do you feel? What are you thinking? What do you want to ask? You want to talk about it? When do you want to talk about it? Why do you think it's not working? Why do you think you're failing? Why do you think you are not executing things the way you should? How can I help? Being the support system that we can be and we should be. So, coming back to the topic, what can parents do? What can Desi parents do in this case? What can Muslim parents do in this case? Even in case of their daughters. We're talking about boys, but even in case of daughters, what can Muslim parents do, especially fathers? And moms, they need to pay very close attention here. When dads are talking, and if there is a dad who is trying to be argumentative in a logical manner, moms, you want to stay quiet. You want to let dad do the talking as long as it is a discussion and argument that is happening where there is an attempt to understand the reason behind no, for whatever it is. Because unless and until we get to the root cause, it won't help us if we just try to keep taking care of the symptom. We have to get to the root cause and then we have to take care of it. So if you see dads trying to understand the root cause, just be there. Be the support, be the silent support for the kid or your partner. Because anything you're going to say at that point is going to distract the parties from that discussion, from that negotiation. It is a negotiation. And then there cannot be blame game in this case. Oh, how can I trust your judgment now when this is what you did 6 months ago and that turned out to be that way? No, we cannot bring buried hatchets out. No, we cannot bring those skeletons out of the closets. Absolutely not. Whatever's buried needs to stay buried. Again, parents, even dads, when we're having that conversation, we do not want to bring something from the past and apply into this conversation. Very, very important. I've seen that happen. I've been on the receiving end of that. It is not pretty. All that goodwill that we're trying to build, that goes out the window. So you want to be very, very careful. And then the third thing, the last, but the single most important thing is you've got to tell the kid, I say kid, child, boy, man, guy, whatever. Whatever you decide, I am going to stand with you. Look him in the eye and tell him, whatever you decide, I am going to stand by your side against everyone. But we have to talk about it to be able to get to a decision that we both agree with. At the end of the day, I want it to be your decision, but I want you to understand everything about this decision. Again, no matter what happens, I am going to stand right by your side to support you. But right now, I want your support in understanding your reason. That is how we have this conversation. So if today's conversation resonated with any one of you, or you think any one of your friends, any one of your buddies, any one of your cousins or uncles can benefit from this conversation or this monologue, conversation, monologue, whatever, this episode, share it with them. Share the entire podcast with them. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys feel. There's so many things we can take care of together. And I'm still learning. Being a father of two boys, one high schooler, one elementary schooler, I'm learning every day. That was the biggest reason I wanted to start this podcast. Boys Don't Cry. Raising boys, being a Desi man, living in the United States, having grown up in Pakistan. I mean, so many things I've learned. I want to utilize all that. So if there's anything you want to share, bring it to me. umairkhan@gmail.com is the email address. Boys Don't Cry is the playlist. Reach out, comment, subscribe, share. Let's keep the conversation going because only then we can dissect and we can discuss and we can get to a root cause. And then the journey starts of solutioning, of band-aids, of healing, which is the purpose. Thank you very much for being part of Boys Don't Cry. With that, till next time, from Boys Don't Cry, this is Umair Khan signing off.